And we are live. It's the Revved Up 906 podcast, a Detroit Pistons podcast, to be exact. And I'm Hudson.
And I'm Ryan.
And before we get into episode number 2 of season 2, I want to remind you guys of a few things. I want to shout out Campfire Coworks. They are where our studio is located here in downtown Marquette, Michigan. We are so blessed to have such a beautiful venue to host our podcast at. I want to make sure you guys follow them on every social media platform because they are an office sharing space here in Marquette, Michigan. They're a place where you can come and network with fellow business owners, fellow startups, and really get to know the local business community here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And if you're looking for job opportunity, freelance in media, marketing, and social media, this is a great place to get involved with. So make sure to follow Campfire Coworks on every social media platform. We're so excited to be partnered up with them. I want to make sure that you guys also like and subscribe. Now that we are in season 2 of Revved Up 906, you guys need to be along for the ride because I have a feeling this up and coming Detroit Pistons season is going to be a wild one. So get ready. And we are in the early stages of the season. So exciting things to come.
Yep.
Let's get into episode number 2. Preseason just wrapped up last week. We kind of wanted to talk about what our takeaways were. And when watching those 4 games, what we kind of gathered from watching those games, where the Pistons grew, what players kind of stood out, the coaching style of Monty Williams, our first thoughts on that. The Pistons went 2-2 and wrapped up the preseason losing to the Dallas Mavericks, beat the Oklahoma City Thunder twice, and lost to the Phoenix Suns in their first debut of the preseason. Ryan, what are some of your first takeaways from this year's preseason of the Detroit Pistons?
My biggest takeaway is Asar Thompson and his play.
Yeah.
You look at the box score, you look at each game. It's not like if you're looking strictly off points, which a lot of people do.
Yeah.
If you look strictly off points, I'm sure you're going to be a little disappointed. But that's not who Asar Thompson is. Historically speaking, in overtime elite.
Oh yeah, I always forget that too. It's not a good name.
An elite league. Let's just put it out there.
Yeah.
But overtime elite, when he was there, he was known as being one of the guys. He was one of those high scoring, I'm doing everything I can to win kind of mentalities, and that's who he was there. And that's who he was even when he was in high school. Fast forward to now in Summer League, did the same thing that he's done in preseason. And he's still, to me, he's impressing me every single time out there.
Yeah.
Even if last game against the Mavericks only has 9 points. I don't care. If you look at the full stat line, you're bound to be amazed. You look at preseason opener there against Phoenix, 12 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 block. The turnovers and fouls, that is high, but you got to expect that from a defensive-minded player, realistically. And defensive-minded so in the fouls, but offensive in the turnovers. And even when he turns the ball over, it's not like he's doing anything like, dude, what are you doing right now? Why are you making that pass? It's usually he hits the guy in stride, wide open, and normally it's on the receiving end that causes the turnover. So it's not necessarily him all the time. He's shown that he's not one of the most efficient shooters for our team, but that's something we knew going in after drafting him. We didn't learn anything new or different there. I'm sure Monty and the coaching staff and everybody in the facility is working on his jump shot, making sure we can get it to the best percentage we can possibly get it to. Defensively, the dude is a stud, and you have him locking up. Like he made the comment there in one of the pressers, the fact that my team has the confidence to throw me up against the best player on each team, that speaks volume. And I completely agree with that statement because it does. There's not a lot of rookies out there that are guarding the best player on the opposing team. There's not. You haven't seen that happen in a long time. So the fact that he's getting it this early on, granted it's preseason, I understand that. But even so, regular season, I can guarantee you he's still going to have that same role. And I'm just impressed from what he's put out there thus far. Like, he averaged a block a game in the preseason.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty darn good. I'm not complaining about that.
One thing that stands out to me is, yes, his scoring isn't excelling necessarily, but what the numbers he's putting up in the minutes he's given is what impresses me.
Yeah.
We saw him against the Oklahoma City Thunder the second time. He only played 22 minutes, but put up 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. So what he's proving to me is that he is very efficient. His plus and minus is very positive. When he is out on the floor, they are quality minutes.
Yep.
There isn't 3, 4, 5 minutes that goes by while he's on the court and he's not doing anything. He's consistently and always making an impact. And as a rookie, that is impressive because usually these high draft picks, they're given the minutes, the time on the floor, but those quality of minutes aren't quite there. Yeah. They show us that, yes, they can score, that their scoring ability is excelling, and that's the reason they were a high draft pick, but they're not doing those little things, and the quality of play isn't quite there. Asar Thompson is excelling at doing the little things and always staying active. Everybody knows that if you watch the Revved Up recaps last season, I talked a lot about how some Pistons players didn't move with a purpose. So when they don't have the ball, they're not really doing much with their effort. They're not making an impact without the ball. Asar Thompson is so good at doing the little things as far as closing out on the passes on defense, or setting those off-ball screens on the offensive end that sets up teammates to score, or it sets him up for the pick and roll on the off-ball. He's really impressing me at doing those small things so early in his career, because it's typically the veterans on NBA teams that take care of those little intricacies of basketball.
Yeah, and even to that point, though, like, you look at almost every high pick, or at least every rookie coming in, the game is extremely fast for them, and they don't know how to handle it sometimes.
Yep.
We're seeing that with Marcus Sasser right now, actually. Marcus Sasser the game is moving very fast for him, and that's why he's fouling a lot. And if he just slows down the game, he's fine. But Asar Thompson, it's like the game is already slow for him. That's what I'm seeing out there. Yeah, there's times where it's like, yeah, that's a rookie. But then that happens like once in a blue moon. Otherwise, every single time out there, it's like, okay, the dude might be playing mind games with us right now because he looks like a vet. Yeah. Like, there's no way a rookie's playing like that. And that just shows you the maturity level behind Asar Thompson and how high his basketball IQ is. Like, he's making plays that vets would make. He's not making plays that rookies would make. And if you're making plays that, there's a select few players out there that are rookies that are making these high caliber plays. It doesn't happen a lot. Obviously you could throw Victor Wembanyama in that conversation right now, but when you're 7'4", you can pretty much do anything you want.
Yeah.
But the point to be made here is Asar is proving to everyone right now, especially in the Pistons community, and not just the Pistons community, but the NBA, that the dude is legit. Mm-hmm. He's not just some lower end, like, I wasn't good enough to be a top 1, 2, 3 pick. He's showing that he could have been taken that high.
Yeah.
And he's just wanting the right opportunity. And he's like the perfect mold of a player that any Detroit sports fan wants in their community. We talk the last year, in the last couple of years, everybody's talked about how Isaiah Stewart is literally Detroit made. Like, right. He is Detroit. I think Asar Thompson is Detroit. Like, the way he puts himself out there is like, you better respect me, otherwise I'm either gonna shut you down or I'm just gonna dunk in your face, essentially. Yep. Like, the dude is playing out of his mind, and he's playing above his years right now, and I'm just very impressed with his game.
One of my takeaways with Asar in the preseason was he might just be a future triple-double machine.
Yeah.
We saw him in his debut during the preseason against the Phoenix Suns have 12 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists, flirted with a triple-double. And then against the Oklahoma City Thunder, like I mentioned before, 18 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. And we saw Cade, his rookie year, actually have 11 triple-doubles his rookie year.
Yeah.
I think that's something we could see from Asar if he's given the minutes. Say he's getting starter minutes, so flirting around 30 minutes a game. I think it's very, very possible he's going to rack up a couple triple-doubles early here. And that's something that makes him stand apart from Amen. Amen is a little bit more well-rounded on the offensive end rather than Asar. But Asar can pass. He can rebound. He can score here and there when whatever the defense gives him. So that's why I'm always going to stick my neck out for Asar, and I'm happy we took Asar over Amen. Even if we had Amen, I like Asar's tape. I like his play style compared to Amen. So that's just another reason why I'm happy we have Asar. But also, we saw it during Summer League, and we saw glimpses of it in Overtime Elite League, his passing ability. We mentioned before a couple weeks back that we think he has the passing ability of a point guard. Yeah. And I think that at the small forward position, you have a guy that can pass the ball the way Asar does. That's going to make him that much more of a threat when the Pistons are in playoff contention in the future years. Because when you have a small forward as dynamic as Asar is, you're going to be light years above other teams.
Yeah, he's proven time and time again. I mean, yeah, you look at the stats for him. Phoenix, 6 assists. Oklahoma City, game 1, 2 assists, then 3. And then against the Mavericks, he did not have an assist. But, like, he's showing you time and time again that he does everything. And the passing ability is there. And a lot of these turnovers that he's been getting are because he's seeing a play happen before it actually happens, and that's why the ball is getting turned over a lot on his part. It's not that he's not like forcing a ball into a situation that he has no business like making that pass. He's putting the ball where he knows there's going to be a play and an opportunity. The issue is like the receiving end, these players aren't expecting that pass because normally that pass isn't happening. Yep. Normally, like, it's kind of like when you're playing with LeBron James, right? The Lakers or even Miami, Cleveland, like these players are like, yeah, there's no way, like Rui Hachimura, as much as I love him, there's no way he's giving me that ball in that situation. And there's certain situations where LeBron or like Nikola Jokic is a perfect example of this, is seeing a play before it happens and is making that pass. Yeah. And Asar just needs to slow his roll down a little bit on those situations. But then also these players on the Pistons just need to get used to Asar making those plays. And I think those turnovers are going to disappear. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more assists from Asar this regular season. So much so to the point where I would agree, I think he could average a triple-double.
Yeah, I mean, he's just showing so many skill sets of players that excel at getting triple-doubles. It's just something that I see coming. Maybe I'm wrong, but I hope I'm right. Make sure to comment below if you agree. You saw the same things from Asar this preseason. If you agree, disagree, if you see him being a triple-double machine, make sure to let us know in the comments. So we talked about Asar Thompson and how he may just be elite. Another takeaway I had from preseason was Cade looked comfortable and eager to be back. I was very happy with Cade Cunningham's play. We didn't get to see too much of him. They're kind of holding him back a little bit since it is just preseason. But now that we're in the early stages of the regular season, we're going to be seeing the whole Cade effect come back into action here. But we saw him debut against the Phoenix Suns and started off with 12 points, 6 assists, and 2 rebounds. Game 2 against the Oklahoma City Thunder, did not play, but then he came out hot in this second matchup against the Oklahoma City Thunder and had 14 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists in only 22 minutes. He showed that he still got the skills he had his rookie year and early last season. How good does it feel to have Cade back? Because I know for me, I'm ecstatic. I'm so excited to talk about him in Revved Up recaps. It's just great to have him back.
Honestly, it doesn't feel like he was ever away from the team. It feels like the injury didn't happen and that like last year just didn't. I mean, any Pistons fan wants last year to not happen. I mean, 17 wins, but the point is like it doesn't feel like he missed a beat. Like realistically, he's leaving off in preseason where he started the season in the first 12 games last year for us. Like, yes, these numbers are much lower than where he was in the first 12 games of the season last year. But like you see how comfortable he is in the offense. He's not forcing shots. He's not forcing situations that put him to maximizing his offensive ability or defensive ability. He's just helping others just have a fun, easy game and get a win out of it. He's walked in there and is showing everybody like, hey, I'm still here. I should not be ranked 75th on ESPN's top 100 players. And it's just amazing seeing him out there. I can't tell you how happy I am that he's out there because it's like, okay, Cade's back, we're good. Like, even if he wasn't back this year, which would suck, and I don't hope that on him or wish that for him. But even if he wasn't back, I'd be kind of sitting there going like, yeah, I mean, I think we could win more than 17 games still with the addition of Monty Williams and his coaching staff, and then the additions of Marcus Sasser and Asar Thompson, and then even Monte Morris, Joe Harris. Like, I'd be pretty thrilled going into this season if we still didn't have Cade. But now that we have Cade, it's like, I know everybody's predicting 24 wins around the league. Pistons fans are predicting around 30 wins. I see with Cade in the lineup, healthy, injury-free, including the rest of our team, I honestly see us 35, 40 wins. And I know that's very high given the fact that we just had a 17-win season. But, like, the dude is elite. And, like, even as low as his box score was, he wasn't trying out there. He really wasn't. If he was trying, he could have easily had 30 points every night out there, realistically. And that's why I'm just so much more excited, is because you saw how easy the game came to him and he didn't even try.
So we saw Cade get 6 assists and then another 6 assists and then wrapped up the preseason against the Dallas Mavericks with 4 assists. And we talked about how Asar Thompson's passing ability is a lot farther ahead than we expected. With Asar Thompson being so skilled at passing the ball, does that change the dynamic at all of the effect Cade will have with the Pistons in the passing game? Does that mean he can focus on scoring a little bit more, or do you still see him being at the helm of the offense and everything going through him and the passing going through him?
I still see everything going through him. And the only reason I say that is because, and this is no disrespect to Asar Thompson or anybody else on our team, Cade is the guy. Cade is the best player on our team. And every team in the league knows that. And so they're going to, if they really want to win, they're going to shut down Cade. That's what they're going to try and do. And doing so is going to force Cade to make passes rather than shoot the ball. And I'm fine with that because Cade doesn't need to shoot to be effective. He doesn't need to pass to be effective. Any aspect you want him to be successful in, he's going to be successful in it. You saw him over the summer there in the U.S. Select team going up against Team USA. They had him in a Luka Doncic role, and they couldn't even stop him. Like, he was almost identical to Luka, which is speaking volumes of how good he is. And so, like, you can make a case that maybe the ball ends up in Asar's hands and he's the one making the passes, or Killian Hayes, Monte Morris, Marcus Sasser, and so on. I really think it's still going to go through Cade. You look at all of the other teams around the league. In Phoenix, they're like, the ball is still going to go through Devin Booker's hands.
Right.
Even with Kevin Durant there, even now with Bradley Beal there, it's still going to go with Devin Booker. You look at LeBron and the Lakers, of course it's going to go through LeBron. That's not even a debate. You look at the Nuggets, it's always going to go through Jokic, even though he's a center. But the point to be made is like everybody in the league knows that Cade is the guy, and Monty and everybody on the Pistons knows that Cade is the guy. And so I don't see anything changing there because Cade, like I said the last couple episodes, is elite. He's just one of those guys that no matter what, you're gonna have to like quadruple team him in order to stop him. Because realistically, you're not gonna stop him with just two guys. Because he's one of those smart guys that can just break down defenses left and right. So I really think the ball's still gonna go through his hands. And even if it doesn't, like, that would be great for the Pistons too, because like let's say the ball is going through Asar's hands or Jaden Ivey's hands. Cade is still an excellent cutter. He can shoot.
Yeah.
And even so, if he cuts, gets wide open, you kick it to him, there he is. He can pass the ball at any given time. So realistically, I don't see anything changing with the way things go. The only way it'll change is if Cade's having a slow night or a cold night.
Right.
And I don't see that happening for this season.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't see the dynamics changing that much. And a main reason is Asar Thompson excels in passing on the fast breaks.
Yep.
And we know Cade can do that, but his bread and butter is running through the offense, finding guys when they're shooting up the baseline, that kind of examples, where Asar excels in the fast break, get the ball down the court and dump it off to a Jaden Ivey or dump it off to a Jalen Duren at the rim. He's really good at those skillful under the basket passes. One thing that I noticed about Cade Cunningham this preseason that's very exciting is we saw his rookie year and early last season, him be able to knock down the three ball at times. He loves to shoot that mid-range jumper, and he was very good at the mid-range jumper his rookie year and early last season, but it's gotten even better, people. From what I saw is early in his career, when there was a hand up right in his face, he, rather than not, missed a lot of those shots. And the superstars in the league, when they shoot that mid-range jumper, a Devin Booker, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, sometimes it doesn't matter if they have a hand in their face. They're still knocking it down. Yeah. That's the kind of level Cade Cunningham is starting to reach. His mid-range jumper has gotten better. And as a Pistons fan, that's very exciting because he shot a lot of mid-range jumpers and wasn't the most efficient at times. And that was just the immaturity, getting used to the speed of the game. It's coming around, people. It's very exciting to see him make those difficult jumpers because the more dynamic his offense gets, the more dynamic the Pistons as a whole get because it makes the team that much more unpredictable, and that's special when going up against these competitive Eastern Conference teams.
Yeah, there's not a lot of guys in the league that can hit that shot with consistency,
right?
Rather, versus just hitting that shot in general. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of guys that can just hit a shot like that, but can you do it consistently on a regular basis? And the main guy that I think of in that situation is Kevin Durant. Is no matter what you do, if you're like literally both hands up or even like you're a tower in front of him, he's still hitting that shot in front of you, no matter how good your defense is. And if Cade can get to the level of a shooter that Kevin Durant is at,
yeah,
and you just include, so like Cade mixed with like Chris Paul and the ability that he has with the basketball IQ and his passing and whatnot, they're very similar there. But if Cade can get to the level of shooting that Kevin Durant is at, just imagine a player of Cade Cunningham with Kevin Durant and Chris Paul. Like, you're not stopping that realistically. And I know those are weird comparisons to make because Cade is much more than that. But if you just look at the abilities that each of those two guys have and then just include that in with what Cade has already going for himself right now, dude is scary.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the more he gets consistent as far as efficiency on his shots, that makes this team that much better because we don't really have, I mean, we have some veteran guys that are go-to scorers. We got like Bojan, Alec Burks, but Bojan's dealing with injuries. That's probably only going to get more frequent. Alec Burks, he's only got so many years left. When this team starts to hit their thriving point, and I mean, we're talking Eastern Conference Final Championships, that kind of talk when they're running the East. If Cade is a Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant-esque player, and you have the Jalen Duren in the paint protecting that big Ben Wallace-esque role, and then these solid scoring and defender players around them, that's when you're talking dynasty. And Cade needs to start reaching that unstoppable offensive ability because every team that wants to chase championships or chase Eastern Conference Finals championships needs to have that offensive guy that's just a juggernaut. And Cade right now seems like he's trending that way, and that is so crucial for the development of this team. Another takeaway I had from this preseason was something to remember to the fans. Something that the fans need to remember when watching this preseason is that this team right now isn't at full strength. We saw this team beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are a solid ball club. They got some well-rounded players, and the Pistons were able to beat them twice without some very key players. Bojan Bogdanovic is out and had 0 games logged with a calf injury. The Pistons are gonna reevaluate him in about 2 weeks. And then Alec Burks, he played a little bit, but not the amount of minutes he's normally going to get in the regular season. And then we saw Monte Morris not play because he's dealing with a lower back injury, and he'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks. And then, of course, Isaiah Livers dealing with injuries. Go Big Blue, but we've been struggling with Isaiah Livers a couple weeks or a couple months now, maybe a year. It's a love-hate relationship with him. So the point I want to make is Bojan, Alec Burks, Monte Morris, those are going to be key players for this young Pistons team. And we were able to compete with good level teams in today's NBA without them. So these next couple weeks, when these guys start to return, let's start thinking about, okay, the Pistons are going to be dangerous. And as fans, we need to remember that, and hopefully this team just simply doesn't get plagued with injuries like we did last year.
Yeah, if we don't deal with injuries, this is a 41 team. I don't care how much hate I get.
I agree.
At the end of the day, yeah, I'm a Pistons fan. I know what the last couple, well, I guess you could say decade, the last couple of years has been like. I understand that. But you can still be hopeful. It doesn't hurt you or anyone to be hopeful in a team that you support. So I do see 40 wins out of them. And will it be a rough 40 wins? Could be. Could it be a great 40 wins, like you're chilling, sitting back and relaxing? Yeah, that's a possibility. We don't know with this team going forward. Weaver has made excellent moves the last couple of years that have put us in the position that we are in today.
Yeah.
You've seen him pull a trigger on signing Josh Jackson and Trey Lyles, and you're sitting there going like, where are you going with that, Weaver? And what does that turn into? Marvin Bagley.
Right.
And you're sitting here in a situation where Monty's going like, yeah, our backup big battle is between Marvin Bagley and James Wiseman. So obviously that was a great move if you're having to determine that. Trading away Saddiq Bey and getting James Wiseman. Yeah, Saddiq Bey, yeah, we love Saddiq Bey. We still do, we always will. Mm-hmm. He's a Piston through and through. But you see him in Atlanta right now. The Hawks did not give him a contract extension, meaning he's a restricted free agent after this year. So clearly, we're not the only ones that are a little bit skeptical around Saddiq Bey.
Point.
Obviously, he can play. He's one of the best shooters in the NBA. But the amount of moves that Weaver has made the last couple of years proves to me that this dude is the right guy to have at the helm. And the additions of getting Monte Morris and Joe Harris for little to nothing is very impressive. Because those two guys alone, I would believe that they will be very thought after going into the trade deadline this year, just because of the fact of how high of a player they are in terms of caliber, but then also they're vets. They win. Joe Harris, through Cleveland, through Brooklyn now, and then even now in Detroit with the preseason little reps he's had.
He played good.
He's played great. He's one of those guys that, yeah, you're not going to expect him to go out there and drop 20 points every single night. You're not going to expect that. But you're going to expect that he does his job, and he does it every single time. Monte Morris through Denver, through Washington, now with the Pistons, he's proven everywhere he's gone that he's one of those household names. He's going to go out there, work his tail off. He's said it in a couple press conferences here recently with the Pistons that, like, he doesn't need to go out there and be the man. He doesn't need to go out there and drop 20, 30 points. He's fine doing whatever it takes to win. And you know a Michigan native is going to say that. So, like, these moves that Weaver has made, these additions that we've gotten this offseason, Bojan Bogdanovic, I'm surprised, honestly. Like, last year we were going into the offseason going like, yeah, Bojan's getting moved.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here now going like, yeah, honestly, Bojan, we like you. You're going to be one of those key guys that we see going into this season and finishing potentially this season. We don't see you being moved, especially based off the additions that Weaver has made. And so right now, we do need those three guys healthy. We do. And I know as much as we did compete with the Dallas Mavericks, who are a good team, the Phoenix Suns, who are a good team, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are on the brink. They literally made the play-in last year, and they really shouldn't have. But they're on the brink of being a playoff caliber team, like actually a playoff caliber team. Like, it's impressive what we were able to do with so little we had. And if we stay healthy, which was the big thing, big talk last year, but if we stay healthy, this team could easily win 40 games. And I think, I mean, when we had the whole comment of three Pistons that will shock the world, I think the Pistons alone could shock the world this upcoming season. And I'm very excited, especially if those three guys are healthy. Now, Isaiah Livers, please get healthy soon.
Please.
We don't like bad mouthing you. Like, seriously, dude.
No.
Like, we're Michigan fans here. We love Michigan.
Peep the jersey.
Yeah, peep the jersey. But, like, we love you, dude. You're one of those high smile, like, just one of those
good energy.
Yes, one of those good energy guys. And if you can just stay healthy, man, that'd be nice to have you out there.
I know.
Because it sucks having to sit there after recaps or just in a normal episode like today, how we're sitting here going like, man, Isaiah Livers, you're disappointing us. Like,
I know.
We want to trade you, but at the same time, we don't. We don't want to be in that situation, so just get healthy. That's all we're asking for.
Right.
But yes, I will say it is very important that we need to stay healthy for this upcoming season, because if we do, watch out.
As you talked about all the new addition to players to this roster, it reminded me like how many storylines the Pistons have right now. We have the storyline of the return of Monte Morris to his home state, his return home. We have the battle for backup center between Marvin Bagley and James Wiseman. We have the storyline of Cade's return to glory. We have the storyline of Jaden Ivey coming off the bench and what that looks like. We have the storyline of, is Bojan going to get traded like we've been thinking the last year? Like, there are so many storylines to follow. And if you're a Pistons fan, just bask in all the entertainment that is going on around the Detroit Pistons organization. It is so much fun. And basketball season is finally back. We finally get to watch 3 Pistons games a week and hop on Revved Up recaps and talk about it. It is a good time of the year. It's fall. So just enjoy all the storylines and what they have to offer, and stay tuned for all that's about to happen. That will do it for episode number 2 of season 2. We talked about all our preseason takeaways. Make sure to comment below what some of your preseason takeaways were, what you were impressed by Marcus Sasser, Killian Hayes, guys that we didn't have to mention. We would love to see what you guys have to say. Before you guys leave, I want to shout out Grind Clothing Co. They are our official merch sponsor, and you can click the link in our YouTube bio or the description of this video to get shot right to their website to check out all the merch options we have to offer. We have some new merch coming out very, very soon, so stay patient. But until then, go check out our bucket hats, sweatshirts, polos, quarter zips. Go check it all out because there's a lot to offer, and you gotta rep your favorite Detroit Pistons podcast. Also, I want to make sure you guys like and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, thank you for tuning in. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you guys so much, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.